everybody, I'm Katrina. Welcome to the Crafty Garden. We are going to make some blueberry muffins today. So we're going to start off with our ingredients and mixing those. And I'll go through the ingredients as I put them into the bowl. So first off, I'm starting off with some all-purpose flour. And this is all-purpose flour that I got from Azure Standard. It is organic. And we're going to put 2 cups into our bowl here. And I'm just using a regular 1 cup measuring cup to put that in there. And I like to level my flour out unless the recipe calls for a heaping cup or 2 cups of flour. This just calls for 2 cups of flour. I keep my flour in an airtight container. I do take it out of the bag, and that's just so that it keeps a little bit longer for me. These airtight containers I got off of Temu, and they are awesome containers. I really, really love using them because they do keep my items fresh. I use them for hamburger buns, hot dog buns, things like that, and they keep my bread a lot longer. Alright, so after I've added the flour, and this is my dry ingredients that I'm putting in here, we're going to add 1 cup of sugar. I'm mixing my dry ingredients in one bowl, and I will put my wet ingredients in another. Now for this here, you want to use half a teaspoon of salt. Alright, now I will tell you that I inadvertently put 2 teaspoons of salt in there. So I did add some more sugar to kind of level that salt out. All right, and then you're going to use 2 teaspoons of baking soda. So that's half a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And once you get your dry ingredients in the bowl, you want to make sure that you incorporate all of those ingredients. And I like to use my flat spatula to do that with. And I'm just stirring in all those ingredients, the flour, sugar, salt, and baking soda. All right, and I'm going to set that to the side, and we'll get started on our wet ingredients. And so I have a smaller bowl for that. So for our wet ingredients, the first thing I'm going to add is 1/3 cup of oil. And I am just using a regular vegetable oil for these muffins. We're going to add half a cup of milk. Now I have a 1/4 cup measuring cup there, so I will add 2 of those. All right, and that is just regular whole milk. It is a shelf-stable milk. Once you open it, then you put it in the fridge. But it will sit on your shelf till you open it. And we're going to add 2 eggs. All right, and then we're going to, after we add our eggs, we're going to add half a teaspoon, I'm sorry, 1 teaspoon, not half, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now you can add a little bit more if you want to. The recipe calls for 1.5 to 2, but I used 1 teaspoon. And then I'm gonna use my whisk in this part to incorporate my wet ingredients together and mix them in real good. All right, now we're going to prep our blueberries. All right, these blueberries I have came from Azure Standard. They are farm fresh blueberries. And remember, some things I have grown, some things I buy from a farm. And the farm that I use is Azure Standard. So they do send you the blueberries frozen. And I take the blueberries, it's in a great big box. I take them out of the box and I separate them and divide them into plastic bags, Ziploc bags, and then I freeze them. So we're going to take 2 cups of these blueberries and we're going to put them in the container with the flour. And that was 1 cup of flour. And I call this my shaker. I use these cups to incorporate things together by shaking them when I put a lid on them. All right, so I'm not going to show you me shaking the container, but I am putting 2 cups of blueberries in this container with 1 cup of flour. All right, and it doesn't have to be exact. And that's what I have left of those blueberries that I will probably make something else with this afternoon. All right, and once I've shaken that up, I'm going to start incorporating my ingredients together. All right, so I'm going to add my wet mixture to my dry mixture. All right, and you want to stir this up using your flat spatula so that you can fold it in. You do not want to stir this until it becomes a cake-like batter. You want to stir this until all of your dry ingredients are incorporated in, and it's going to almost look like a slight cake batter to a cookie batter type. Not as tight as cookie batters, but you'll see when I get this all folded in and all of my dry ingredients wet. I will show you what that looks like. Now I also included 1/4 to half a cup of melted butter, and that helps give it a little bit of fluffiness and a little bit of flavor. And now I'm just slowly adding my blueberries that I shook up in this cup. Now when you put your blueberries into your batter, you want to fold it in. Don't stir it or your batter's going to turn purple. It is going to turn purple, I promise. So don't stir it. Just fold those blueberries in. Now the reason we put the blueberries into the flour and coated them was that helps keep your blueberries from sinking to the bottom of your muffins. So you'll have blueberries incorporated throughout your blueberry muffin. Otherwise, everyone's going to just eat the bottoms of the muffins. So we want to incorporate that, definitely do that part so that we don't have blueberries sinking to the bottoms of the muffins. And it is a very good trick, and it does work, y'all. So don't skip that step. All right, and here I'm just folding the blueberries into the batter. Now I'm going to use a 12 dish baking pan, and if you want to make bigger ones, you can use a 6 dish baking pan. And I simply just sprayed it with canola oil and I coated it with some flour, and that's just to keep our muffins from sticking to the pan. You can use baking sheets, you can use parchment paper if you know how to make your own cups for your baking dish. And I'm going to use a scoop and just scoop them out into the cups. All right, and I'm putting 1 scoop in each cup, 1 big scoop in each cup, because we do have a lot of batter here. And that's just to make sure I get a muffin in all of my cups. And as you can see, 1 scoop does fill it up pretty good. And then once I get these scoops in here, with whatever batter I have left, I will fill others that did not get quite as full. So we end up having exactly enough batter for these 12 muffins that we are making. Now the ice cream scoop, I have a few of those that I use for cooking. I also have one or two that I use just for ice cream. Those are a different color and they don't actually scoop out like this. This one you squeeze it and it pushes your items out of the pan. Alright, so once I get these in here, I like to take a little bit of sugar and sprinkle on the tops of my blueberry muffins. Now at this point, once I started scooping the muffin mix into the pans is when I started preheating my oven. Alright, now I will preheat this oven. I'm going to cook these at 400. It's a nice round number and I just kind of like that number. And you will get some recipes that say to cook it at 425, 475. But I'm cooking this at 400 because I have a double oven and I'm going to cook these in the top oven. And the top oven, although it is big and as deep as the bottom oven, it is not as wide. So my muffins will be closer to the burner in this top oven. So I'm going to cook these at 400 for 20 to about 25 minutes. All right, and here I'm just filling the vent to see what was going on with this oven. This was I was initially heating up the bottom and there was a lot of smoke coming out of that vent. So when I looked in there, there was a little bit of oil spilled in the bottom of it. So I turned it off and started heating up the top. All right, and when I got to about 5 minutes left for the preheat process to finish, I went ahead and put my muffins in there. All right, and I set my timer for 20 minutes. And that's just me showing you the muffins in there that we just put into the baking dish. All right, so after about 20 to 25 minutes, these muffins were done. All right, and I'm going to take a little butter knife just to make sure by sticking it in the middle. And as you can see, my little butter knife comes out clean. So these muffins are done and ready. They smell so good. Everyone's starting to wake up in the house and they're coming in the kitchen looking and asking, what did you make? What did you make? That's why I had to do a voiceover because everyone kept coming in talking. But as you can see, our blueberries did not sink to the bottom of the muffins. And they turned out beautifully. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe.